Welcome to the WUUA TIB podcast. This is today's free episode. There is also a bonus episode that went up exclusively on our Patreon. You can find that at patreon.com/WUUATIB or simply go to WUUATIB.com. That's WUUATIB.com. Thank you and enjoy.
Hey, welcome to the WUUA TIB podcast. This is Sealio, being your host for today. How's it going? Why don't you introduce yourselves before we begin? All right.
I am Categorical Grant.
And I'm Henry.
Hello, Henry. All right, so what's on the docket today? We got 3 topics: our trip to Japan, Impossible Burger, and what complex do you have? I guess we can. What complex do you have? I just put that up on the docket right now because I'm like, hey, we can't have 2 topics. 3 is a magical number, so I needed to add one more.
True.
Mm-hmm. And if this doesn't work out, we can just not upload it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like there's enough content in Japan trip to last more than an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Personally.
Yeah. So before you guys went to Japan, have you been to Japan before? Doesn't make sense, but
I
No.
had been once. I guess Jack had actually been before on like a cruise or something, right?
not sure. But what was your when did you go to Japan? The first time you went to Japan?
I went in like 2015 or something like that.
2015.
As a sophomore in undergrad, and I went with just like basically a brand new acquaintance who I had just met that year,
Yeah.
and 4 people who I had never met before, and he had also never met before in person.
I remember his last name was Choi, right? I think it's okay to
Yes.
give his last name. That guy. Yeah, why don't you
There are
talk a
enough
little?
people with the last name of Choi out there.
Yeah, that is true. My mom's last name.
He
is
was just
Choi,
like a
so.
huge. He was just like like a huge weeb, and he wanted to basically just shop the entire time. He literally brought 2 of the biggest suitcases I've ever seen in my entire life, and they were both empty.
Wow.
And when we left, they were both full.
What did he buy?
He bought like figurines and like mostly like dolls and shit
Yeah,
for his friends.
for his
and
friends, quote unquote. Am I right?
Yeah. It was a really strange experience.
How many days were you there?
It was like 2 weeks, and we did basically exactly the same stuff as when we all went to Japan.
Yeah,
Except we're going to Fuji.
I remember you going there as well. Since we both graduated from the same college, but yeah, I was really surprised that you went with him because you guys barely know each other.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those just like complete YOLOs,
Exactly, a friend's roommate
Yeah,
that occasionally
exactly.
ate dinner with us from time to time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I feel
And
bad
like
for
we
that
were
guy.
we were just talking. I mean, he's fine now.
That's good.
We were like just talking, and he's like, "Dude, I want to go to Japan so bad." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." And he was like, "Do you want to go to Japan with me?" And I was like, sure. And then I hadn't completely decided yet
Mhm.
when I said that.
Mhm.
Like, I was just like, well, I can just make up a reason why not to go, like, later on, But I ended up going, and I mean, I had a lot of fun.
That's
but
good.
and it laid the groundwork for our trip to Japan.
That is true.
Because
You were our guide the whole time.
yeah,
I did nothing.
I like basically knew. I like we did like almost exactly the same stuff, but it was so much more fun doing it with you guys.
Yeah. You know, the next time the next time I go to Japan or like any country that's like significantly far away, I'm definitely going to take one-way trip.
What do you mean?
Dude, so I had to make a connecting flight to go to Japan, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this was
You guys,
great.
yeah, this is a great
I drove
story.
to the airport.
And I had the worst time ever. First, the plane got delayed 5 hours when I arrived at Canada for a connecting flight.
So you mean that you're gonna go nonstop next
I'm
time?
gonna go nonstop. Yeah, one-way trip. Or I should say one-way
No,
trip.
not a one-way trip.
YOLO swag. Okay.
Listen
Yeah.
up, boys. This mission's a one-way trip. No military stopovers on the way to the OZ.
Tim's going to, or Sealio is going to go to Germany and stay there for the rest of his life.
And yeah, and so my plane got delayed for 5 hours, and I arrived at the Japanese airport, Tokyo airport, I think it was, at like 10 p.m. And you know, when you go through customs and things like that, you know, you have an hour delay. And so I finally got out of the gate at 11 p.m. And apparently everything closes at like 12. And a lot of like trains were closed. Some of these service like taxi and bus services were closed around at like 11 p.m. And I didn't know fucking what to do because like nobody spoke English, which was really surprising to me. Yeah. This is very kind of self-centered of me, but I expected, you know, a lot of especially, you know, Japanese living in Tokyo to understand English. But apparently Japan is one of those Asian countries where English is rarely spoken. Or, yeah. And so, oh my God. I was texting these guys, you know, Henry, Categorical Grant, Jack, and Ty as well. Like, what the fuck do I do, dude? Like, I need to get the fuck out of the airport or else I'm literally going to have to, you know, stay inside the airport for the night. And there was this one bus station that was open. Just one. And I managed to go on the last ride and arrived at the kind of like the nearest bus station to our Airbnb. And I had to, there was a choice between taking a taxi or making a connecting bus. However, like I wasn't going to take the chance and make the connecting bus. And so I decided to take the taxi. And it was only supposed to be like 15 minutes drive. And and that costed like $70. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
And the best thing was the taxi driver didn't know
the
like,
address.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, what did you tell him? Like, how did he get to like the neighborhood that our Airbnb was in?
Like, I don't think so the address didn't register exactly on his navigation system or something like that. He wasn't using his phone. And however, it navigated him to like the neighborhood. Okay. And you know how sometimes Japanese streets can be very narrow and confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like we were circling around the neighborhood a couple times. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Is he trying to rip me off? Yeah.
Yeah. And so on the other side of this story, we were all like frantically trying to figure out how to like find you.
Rescue
And so
Sealio
we literally were like running around the neighborhood, like looking for like a confused taxi. And eventually, like this taxi just like pulls up like
Yeah, I saw you
relatively
guys.
close to the Airbnb, and I was looking into the taxi, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that's Sealio's hair. I know it anywhere."
I think I saw you guys near that convenience store. I forgot what it's called, but it's
Uh-huh.
everywhere in Japan. Man, I've never like felt so glad to see you guys. It was a beautiful moment that I'll never forget for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Actually, so just before we went to Japan, Brandon and I were in China, and on our way to China, actually, basically exactly the same thing happened. 5 hours leaving Chicago,
Really?
and we were connecting in Beijing, and we just missed the flight. So we literally had to spend like a whole night in the Beijing. There was like a hotel near the airport, I guess,
Did you
and
miss
so
the
we had to spend
flight?
the night there.
Did you miss the flight
Yeah,
because of the delay?
yeah,
Oh wow,
we did.
that sucks.
And but I guess like Brandon talked to them and was like, "This is like not our fault," and so they gave us hotel room, and we were
Oh,
only like,
lucky, yeah.
I mean, we were delayed for just like a day, but it ended up being fine.
Yeah, Japan was awesome. I basically did. I don't know. I know I should have done more. In Japan, stayed
You were
inside.
you're so stubborn.
I'm such a
Like
bitch sometimes.
like we were all trying so hard to get you to do stuff, and I'm proud that we got you to do a fair amount of stuff.
Exactly. Right.
But remember the next time when you are saying no, I want to stay inside, remember how much fun it was riding roller coasters.
Right. Or remember how Henry took my bags and got on the wrong bullet train.
Yeah, exactly.
That was so funny.
How fun that was.
Yeah. What happened was, guys, the trains are like always exact in Japan. We should have learned that from the get go. There was another bullet train that was literally like I think 5 minutes before like the one that we're supposed to get on, and you got one that's like that was 5 minutes before the one that we were supposed to get on, and we just like left you there. It was our fault too because we saw you go in, and I'm like, wait, I don't think that's the right train. And then the train goes, and I'm like,
like, it's insane because like it operates like a subway. Like it literally the doors open for like 30 seconds and then they close and the train leaves.
Yeah.
But I was like sleep deprived, and so I was thinking like, it's like a big train. It'll wait here for like 5 minutes. Like this is our train, you know? Like, oh, it's just early. But yeah, like literally, I took Grant's bag because it was big and heavy, and I was trying to be a nice guy. and I got on the train, and like literally the second I walked onto the train, the doors closed behind me, and it started moving, and I was just like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Like, oh god. And I had Jack's expensive camera too, and like my phone wasn't like I had no way to like get internet or anything to like figure out how to reconnect with you guys.
Yeah, that's so true too. Like we were trying to connect to you too, and nothing was working.
I think I had gone to a vending machine, and I came back and I was like, "Where's Henry?" And they were like, "Oh, he's on the train." And I'm like, "Ha! What a loser!" And then they were like, and then I was like, "Where are my bags?"
That was so fucking funny too. I thought you took it by accident.
I did take it by accident. I mean, like, so at that point, like, we were all kind of like tired, and
That is true.
like, there were points where we were like getting pissy with each other, And like, remember that time when you were talking really loudly on the subway, Sealio, and we were all like, shh, don't talk so loudly.
I swear to God, I feel like I wasn't talking loudly. You're just triggering me, dude.
Matter. They have like a whole code of conduct around the subway.
Well,
Yeah, but
we're Americans. We're terrorists. Terrorists.
Yeah,
Tourists.
Terrorists.
Their laws don't apply to us.
Yeah, I mean, like it really doesn't. It really didn't and doesn't matter at all, you know. But like, I remember you were getting so upset that we were telling you to be quiet. And
Nobody tells me to be quiet.
Yeah, it was stupid that we were like even doing that in the first place, but it was just one of those things.
Yeah. Now it's all good memories.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
the best memories.
That's the thing people don't understand, is that it's always good memories after the fact.
That is true.
Even if you have a terrible time with something like that, it's still a good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, I think, one of the main reasons why people should try. But
I remember the first day there, we were putting those like deadly eye drops in.
That stunk so bad. But it felt strangely good to me though. It's like when someone slaps your ass and then it's like, oh, it stings, but at the same time, oh, that's kinky. You know, it's like that kind of a feeling.
It feels good. The thing is though, we literally just bought those at like a random place. Like they could have been anything.
They could have been anything. What the fuck?
Yeah, like I mean,
they look like
were
eye
just
drops.
In like a pharmacy. We were in a pharmacy and there was an eye on it, and I think Brandon like needed eye drops or something. I don't remember who needed eye drops. Maybe Ty, but it just had a picture of an eye on it, so I bought it. And then it turned out that it was like this super painful eye drop.
It felt like
that like stings your eye.
Flavor would be like the way I would describe it.
I mean, what if it was meant to be like eye flavored? I don't know, seasoning for food or something like that. You know, like.
Hey, I'm not blind yet, so it's all good.
Yeah. Or remember when Brandon twisted his ankle / got a giant bug bite on his ankle? And
I don't remember that.
Like, so Ty, and Brandon, we climbed like a mountain near Fuji.
Yeah, that was when we were at the rest of us were at the roller coasters, Kim.
Yeah. And and we were like completely just like dicking around in the forest, basically. And
dicking around in the forest.
There was this like ravine that was like going down a hill, and we were like pretending to be like in Naruto and like jumping down this ravine
naturally. And
Brandon like twisted his ankle.
Oh.
And like when we like 2 days later, he like could barely walk on it.
Oh, I don't remember, but man, that sucks, dude.
Grant, you remember that, right?
I wasn't there, but I've seen the footage.
But like,
yeah,
you were tending to his ankle, remember?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I just don't care about Brandon.
Like, you were like, it was just like a giant red lump, and you were like, I can't tell, because there were also like an insane amount of mosquitoes, and we all got like completely eaten alive by mosquitoes when we were on that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So Grant, you were like, I can't tell if this is a bug bite or you like severely twisted your ankle.
Yeah,
because it was just
very
like red
weird.
and swollen. Yeah,
it almost looked like an infection, but I knew it couldn't be, right? So
yeah,
it was weird.
That's just the kind of thing that would happen to Brandon on a trip that he's like super excited about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what are your favorite moments in Japan? I'm trying to think of one.
Riding the world's steepest roller coaster with Jack. That was pretty cool.
I honestly thought that going clubbing and going clubbing in like the like 3 floors underground like room with a like 8-foot ceiling with like Japanese people just like chain smoking indoors like in a basement.
Dude, that's one thing I regret so much, not going clubbing with you guys.
It was okay. I actually had more fun in Miami clubbing than I did in
I see.
Tokyo.
Yeah.
It kind of depends. It was pretty smoky and like weird because the bouncers kept yelling at us and like
Grant hates smoke. Grant hates cigarette smoke. So
Understandable.
it was not the best experience. I had a lot of fun though. And me and Jack on the last day that we were in Japan, me and Jack stayed out literally until the sun came up. So our flight was at like 8 a.m. Our flight was at like 8 a.m.
God.
And Jack and I had gone out that night, and it was like we got out of the club at like B or something, and none of the trains were running.
Oh fuck.
And it was literally like light outside, but there was no one anywhere, and the trains weren't running. So we just walked for like 45 minutes after like having been.
we did that the first night too. We just walked back.
Go hard or go bust.
Yeah.
For me,
go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to say for me, it was the food, the authentic Japanese food experience, and I have a complaint. My God, we at first few days when we went to Japan, we went to restaurants, ate some good food, right? Those authentic shit. However, we found these 2 chain stores all over Japan called 7-Eleven and I forgot what the other store was called.
And Lawson's. Yeah,
Lawson's. Yeah. And then, my God, why did we kept eating at Family Mart and Lawson's and 7-Eleven when there were so many good Japanese restaurants nearby? I understand because they have really good food in Lawson's and things like that. But that's one of the regrets that I do have, and one of the regrets that I do have, that we didn't get to eat like more Japanese food.
I mean, so part of that is definitely just like the awkwardness of walking into a restaurant where like
translation problems.
Yeah. So one is I'm vegetarian, which is like, I mean, it's a stupid reason to not go out because I can just like eat whatever other stuff, but like trying to communicate like what we wanted to eat, like, because the thing is we could be like if you just walk into a restaurant, it could be a restaurant that only serves like one kind of ramen, you know?
That is true.
Like and the menu like won't like
you can't understand. Yeah, obviously. You can't understand the menu. Yeah.
So
we only
like,
had one.
How do you even? Yeah.
Yeah, we only had
the
one
only
person.
thing you can do is just like randomly point at the menu
and then hope you get something.
Yeah, like who knows what it is? It could be like, you know, fermented octopus or something.
Mm-hmm. There was that time near Fuji where I forced you guys to go to that like actual izakaya.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like totally lost, and like our phone translators weren't working, and we were like, "Oh, this is really bad."
Uh-huh.
And then Brandon just like gets up and like speaks almost perfect Japanese to this lady for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, where'd you learn to do that?
Watching anime. That's why you gotta watch anime. You can learn new languages. But yeah. I really like the food. Oh man, I have a really embarrassing story that I'm not sure if I should share.
Share it.
Yeah, the thing is, Jack's parents listen to this podcast, but remember? Okay, so I'm gonna be very vague as possible. Hi, Jack's parents. And so, like me, Ty, and I believe Jack went as well. Went to this store, right? He had like a many colorful things in it. It was kind of like a very unique place. And I bought a really embarrassing thing. It's not as good if I just try to censor it. That's what I realized. But yeah, I know what you're thinking, right? You know what I bought, right?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I'm not sure if viewers
And
do.
this is a kind of shop of which there are many in Japan, but I think it's also important to note that we were in Tokyo in
Osaka.
Osaka. It
No.
was Osaka.
Was it really?
Yeah, I never been to Tokyo actually,
that's
except
where you
for the first day.
Oh yeah. I thought that was when we were in Akihabara. But that's when I went into that kind of shop.
Oh, we
see.
did go into one by accident in Akihabara, but we didn't buy anything.
There was like an old gentleman in like a full business suit
Really?
purchasing some really embarrassing things. Yeah, it was.
You
great.
gotta get dressed apart in order to go to that store, dude.
Yeah, true.
I'm surprised how common it is in Japan. Like those kinds of stores can be next to, I don't know, a child's like toy store.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
give a fuck, dude.
No, yeah, it really is like. I mean, it's interesting because on the one hand, they're like extremely like closeted about it, but on the other hand, like it's also super normalized, like
Yeah,
outside of. Yeah.
I know this because I read manga. So I know
And,
everything
like,
about Japanese culture.
In every 7-Eleven, there's like explicit manga, like
The magazines,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there'll just be like people in 7-Eleven reading like the explicit manga, like just like in the middle of the day, just like taking a look. Like they don't even buy it; they just like look at it and then go home.
Hell yeah, dude.
I like the way that they ID'd people for alcohol, where the little flashing sign just came up and asked, "Are you 19?" and then you just pressed yes.
Yeah, I mean, even there are like tons of vending machines that just sell liquor, and that's all you have to do, right? You don't have to do anything. Basically, you can just get liquor if you want it.
Mm-hmm. I think the more like you stigmatize it or try to put a stop to it, like the more it becomes a problem. And Japan is like, let's not stigmatize it. Let's just make it as easy as possible to get it, and the kids won't care about it.
Yeah.
They'll just have
Basically.
a sip, and then they'll know that it tastes terrible, and they will not drink it. That's how
Yeah,
it works,
I mean,
right?
yeah, it basically is.
Well, since we're still talking about Japan, we can't fail to mention the earthquake.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
That was like such a crazy experience.
The earthquake's
Because-
bad enough that it got its own Wikipedia article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, were you guys scared? Because for me, I wasn't scared at all. Because I'm like, rationalized that, it must be a very common event in Japan. Like, interesting.
I mean, it is a common event, but like that was like a big earthquake.
Yes.
you know?
I did not know.
It was
We were like,
it was 5.6, and we were like 3 miles from the epicenter.
yeah, we were like literally right there. And when we went outside after that happened, there was like no damage anywhere. Like Like there was like some like paint chipping off of a building, and like that was it basically.
Yeah.
Well, I was asleep on the floor, I think with Henry and Ty
Mm-hmm.
in one of the upstairs rooms, and I woke up to the shaking.
Yeah, me too.
And I was scared for like 2 seconds, and then I was like, "Oh, it's an earthquake," and I relaxed.
Uh-huh. I had no idea what was going on like the whole time. Like I wasn't even really awake until it was like over. I was in like the twilight where you're like not sure if you're like awake or dreaming, you know? And so I was just like getting my head slammed against a wall, and I was like, what?
Who's shaking me?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But like it was really insane the way that the building just like shook with and like nothing at all was damaged.
Like if I didn't have my phone that kept on like yelling "Jijin des, Jijin des," which probably means earthquake in Japanese, I probably wouldn't have woken up. Actually, maybe I might have, but the building like itself, like nothing was broken, no like ceramics, glasses or whatever. It was quite amazing. Yeah.
The worst part about it was that the trains were down for like the next
Oh yeah.
like 8 hours, and we had to leave for Osaka that day. And so we were just like waiting at Mr. Donut playing.
Yeah, Mr. Donut.
I really feel bad for the employees, like, and the manager there, because we were taking up like 50% of the space with our baggages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, we bought donuts.
Yeah, we
we
bought
did
like a $3 donut. We deserve to be in here.
And then we buy a $3 donut, and then we take up their whole store and loudly play a card game.
Do you guys remember going to that? I guess it was Osaka. I'm not sure. It was like a pizza store, and it was like Italian American themed. And we ordered pizza.
No, I don't.
I do very clearly. It was we went down into this pizza store, and then we ordered pizza, and it was like okay.
Yeah.
Actually.
That was when we were in Hiroshima, actually.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing about Hiroshima that really bugged me was that the ground zero marker is like right next to a 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe, you offer to buy out like the block, then make a little park or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That was an interesting experience, like especially going to like the Hiroshima like memorial or whatever, and in it like there was a bunch of like pro Japanese like military language.
Yeah, it was very interesting because it was like mildly anti-American, which like okay, right, fine. Especially because it's Hiroshima. But then, like, Brandon went over and he's like, "Did you guys read that wall?" I'm like, "No, what's on the wall?" And he's like, "It's about the Nanking incident." And he was
and it's like,
"Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." And the last sentence is like, "Many people, both Japanese and Chinese, lost their lives in the Nanking incident." Like,
yeah. Shinzo Abe actually, now that he's no longer the prime minister,
really
he went to that war criminal memorial thing that he wasn't supposed to go to for like while he was the prime minister.
Yeah. Just like, why do you do that? Why don't you just build a new shrine and just write on it, like, to all non-Class A war criminals who fought for the Japanese Empire, and then just go to that? I don't... Could you imagine if the Chancellor of Germany, like, went to, like, Hitler's like beer cellar or whatever every year? Like, what?
Yeah. I read this story about this man who he was just like a regular guy. He was an actor in pornographic films, in Japan. I think this was in like the 80s, and he was like a far right Japanese like imperial stan, and he had this like one politician who he like really loved, and
Was his name
that
Hitler?
politician, no, but that like it was like a guy who was like alive and like in Japanese politics, and so this guy who was like standing this one politician, he like went to one of this guy's rallies or something, and the guy like it turns out that he had been involved in like some scandal that was like I don't remember what it was. It was some like relatively innocuous scandal, like the Japanese government like bought a bunch of Volkswagens or something because like they got money under the table or something like that. But like this guy was like disgraced, and his stan, the pornographic actor, like flew he like trained to fly planes, and he literally kamikazed the guy's house.
What?
He literally
When
like
did this happen?
He like in the 80s or the 90s, I think.
Okay.
Maybe the 70s. Like he and his friends like trained to fly planes together,
Friends?
like in formation. Yeah. Like they were all like amateur pilots, and they were like in formation, like talking on the radio, and the guy was like, "This is my last flight, lads. Signing off." And then he literally like kamikazed the guy's house, but the guy wasn't there, and he only got like half the house.
Wow.
But he died.
Of course he died. That's
Yeah.
just
So-
fucked up.
This reminds me of the like Aum Shinriko, which was
Yeah.
the Japanese cult where like the guy thought he was Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and they launched three terror attacks in Japan before they were finally like arrested.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one, well, there's two on the Tokyo subway, and the first one was with anthrax, but they like chose the wrong strain, so it wasn't virulent, so no one died, even though it would have like killed a lot of people. The Japanese were like, I guess we'll keep an eye on these people. And then later they just literally just used sarin, which is like the Bashar al-Assad one. And like it killed a lot of people on the subway.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they were like, "Okay, that's it. You've you finally upset us to the point where we're gonna do something about you."
Is that the trash can one?
What?
I remember, Japan, if you like walk its streets, doesn't have a lot of trash cans. And somebody told me it's because a terrorist planted a bomb inside a trash can, and to prevent the terrorists from planting bombs in trash cans, they got rid of a lot of them in Tokyo and like a lot of metropolis cities.
Wow, yes, it is that, and you're literally right.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Bloomberg article: Where are all the trash cans in Japanese cities? Plastic waste bans and garbage cans were largely removed from Japanese cities following the 1995 sarin gas attacks.
What's amazing is that the Japanese streets are so clean despite lack of trash cans.
Mm-hmm.
Like one thing I can respect about Japanese for sure is they will walk a long way in order to make sure that they throw out their trash. And
Yeah.
I think the only places where there are like public trash cans are inside stores like 7-Eleven or Lawson's and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The best part about Lawson's is that it's originally an Ohio chain, and my dad remembers them growing up in Ohio. So I came back and I told him, like, yeah, there are like 2,000 Lawson stores in Japan. And he's like, what?
And they like literally don't exist in the United States. I don't think I've ever seen.
I think there's one somewhere. and like that's it. And
Uh-huh.
everyone else is in Japan.
Yeah, and like their logo is like a really old like
Bottle of milk. Yeah.
milk container.
Like 7-Eleven is also very popular in Japan. I think aren't all the common chains American originated
No, I think Family Mart is originally.
in Japan?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Maybe not. But
And I think the 7-Eleven thing's weird because I think it's like actually like a franchise agreement where like they made their own Japanese company called 7 and I.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't exactly
It's like-
7-Eleven.
7 and I Holdings, yeah. And it's like you get to have like a 7-Eleven if you like pay them a bunch of money.
Sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah. It is weird like seeing things like 7-Eleven next to like like a ramen store that's been there for like 200 years or whatever with like paper like flags and stuff outside of it. And then they have like those ugly 7-Eleven colors and like UV or like fluorescent lights. Were you guys there when I think it was when we were near Fuji, like we went into a Lawson's, I think, and like I was just like walking through the aisles and I just hear from behind me like, "Hey, what's up?" And it was just like a white guy working at Lawson's.
Really?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, like it was like a redheaded like American guy who was like working at the desk. And I was just like
How's it
hi.
going? Yeah.
Yeah, you should have said what's up too, man. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, I was just so like taken aback. Like how I mean, I guess if you're white in Japan, it's like you probably speak English. But like what if I was just like a German person who didn't speak English, you know?
that kind of happened to us in Hangzhou too when you and I were in China, Henry,
Mm-hmm.
where we were at like
Oh, yeah.
this market and we had not seen an American in like 5 days. And then I like commented on some scarf that it was like orange and green, and I was like, "Oh, it looks like an Irish scarf." And I just hear this guy laughing, and I turn around, this like, American guy in a suit, just like hanging out. And I was like, "What? You are the? Why are you here? A and B. You are the first American I have seen in literally a week, other than you, obviously, Henry."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some camaraderie to be found in finding people who are also out of place, you know.
That is true.
Did you run into any American expats in like Burma?
No. I mean, no. Like Myanmar is so like it's one of those countries. Also India is similar where like there's like almost nothing. Like it's not like there aren't Western chains or anything like that. Like there's just like only local stuff. And I mean no one goes to Myanmar, so
How did you like communicate and do things?
I mean very painfully.
Okay.
Like
Because
so
I don't know how much. I mean, it was a British colony for a long time, right? So I
Yeah,
guess
it
there's some
was.
English around.
yeah, some people do actually speak English there. Because it was I guess it was a part of India at one point. And then when they were like, okay, we are now going to divide India arbitrarily based on like what religion you are, they were like, okay, now Myanmar is its own country. because all of these people are Buddhists. But yeah, I mean, it makes good stories, like having horrible miscommunications with people in foreign countries where you seem like an idiot because you only speak English.
Oh, I did that a couple times in China. I don't remember in Japan, but yeah, China was bad.
Yeah, it's so cringe, like when stuff like that happens. I remember Brandon's aunt. Well, I don't know if she was actually his aunt, but like one of Brandon's family members was like, and she only speaks Chinese, and so like Brandon was translating for her, and Brandon was like, she asks if you will be her American son.
Yeah.
And I was like, ha 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 ha, that's so funny. And then and then Brandon was like, she's actually serious. And I was like,
What did you answer, Henry?
I mean, I said yes because
When's the last time?
What?
What else are you going to say to that? If someone asks, like,
Exactly.
I want to talk to my son.
Are you just going to say no?
Then
Like,
when's the last time you talked to your Chinese mother, Henry?
well, now that WeChat is getting banned, I don't have to feel bad about it.
Hell yeah, dude. That's hilarious because I don't think maybe it's a Chinese thing because in Korea they don't have anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what was up with that, but it made me really uncomfortable, but it was really funny.
Korea is honestly a miracle story. Is they went from literally rice pads to being more technologically advanced than the U.S. in like 40 years.
Yeah, that's true.
That is
It's
true.
like actually the most. I've always been very impressed with Korea. They were also the only
You
ones
just
over
need
there
a
to figure out.
dictator that will that can make any policies he ever wants to, and you can just do shit like that, I guess.
Well, the free one.
The free one?
The free one, the South, because like
No.
serious.
I'm telling you, it's because we had a dictator. The South Koreans had a dictator.
Oh, Syngman Rhee, you're talking about.
Yes. Otherwise, that would have been impossible.
I guess I don't know. But even like before that, like the Koreans like came up with the alphabet on their own, even though no one else around them used the alphabet.
Oh.
Well, yeah, just
That happened in like 1500s, yeah.
Yeah, but like still, like
Okay.
even today, like China and Japan Japan kind of has like the katakana or whatever, which is like sort of an alphabet, but like they don't use the alphabet. China and Japan don't use it, and Koreans like completely independently. We're like, let's come up with a system in which strokes represent single letters, and then we can make any word out of 24. I think it's 24 strokes that they have.
Sounds about right.
Different strokes, and not have to memorize 10,000 pictograms.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, there's a saying that you can write down any Korean words in a day of learning Korean. You can write down any Korean words in a day of learning Korean.
I believe it. I believe it 100%.
Yeah. Well,
Well, I guess it depends how old you are.
How old?
When Henry and I were learning German, it took us like probably 5 months to understand the S set.
Yeah, and it's literally
what
one
is
character.
big B? And they're like, that's the S set, which is apparently like now not used because the Germans were like, yeah, getting rid of the S set.
Yeah.
No
It was
more
too
S set.
confusing.
It's gone now.
Yeah, so now you, if you want to say something like Imbissstube, you just write 3 S's instead of the S set and then an S.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but I'm just gonna nod along. And on that note,
Imagine that we like got rid of the exclamation point,
Stop! I don't want to learn, dude.
and instead of putting an exclamation point when you wanted to emphasize a sentence, you
This
had to put
podcast
like,
is for shit talking, not for learning.
okay, fine, let's talk shit.
All right. I think actually this is a good place to stop. It's been 50 minutes.
Yeah, we've been
Well,
good.
let's do one more topic briefly. I'm having fun.
Sure. Okay.
Um,
I want to talk about what complexes do you have, and I can start first if you want, but I want to hear your answer, Grant.
You mean like the
Crippling depression.
what's the Greek play with the guy that marries his mom by accident?
Sure, that's one complex. That's a part like that's.
Yeah, but is that what
that's
you
all
mean by complex?
No, like any complex, God complex. I don't know. What else is there? Depression, and that's not really a complex, but who cares? This is kind of like a open chat. What's the right expression?
Francisca Donner, second wife of Syngman Rhee. Okay, let me look up list of complexes.
oh yeah.
Hey, there's this game called Squad.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole premise is that there are squad leaders that lead individual squad members in a team and get objectives. And then when you get those objectives, you lead the whole kind of like team to victory. And I love playing that game so much. It's a military simulation, and I love playing that game not because it's a great military sim or it's because shooting is realistic or the sound isn't as good. I love playing that game. It's because I get to order people around as a squad leader.
That makes sense.
I would say I have a guilt complex.
Guilt complex. What the hell is that?
According to learning-mind.com, it is a person that always blames things that go wrong on themselves.
I don't know about that, Henry.
What?
I mean, I don't know about that, Grant. Henry, what do you think?
I mean, I could see it.
You blame me, Grant.
Well, yeah,
a
I
lot of
blame
your-
you for a lot of things, but that's
Exactly.
only when it's very clearly your fault.
I don't know, dude. Even though it was not my fault. For example, even though I was not the imposter, you accused me of being an imposter and then just eject me out of the airlock and I died, dude.
Yeah, it's because I'm shitposting.
All right, fair enough.
A lot of these complexes are like kind of the same thing. Superiority complex, God complex.
There's like 5 sex complexes.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Uh,
Ophelia complex is the term used by Gaston Bachelard to refer to the links between femininity, liquids, and drowning.
I'm not sure why the links are a complex.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's why you can't trust the French.
Superman complex.
So, to interrupt and go completely off topic,
Sure. I was just...
I start like labor and delivery at 6 a.m. tomorrow, like start my shift.
Mhm.
And I got up from my nap at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So I am real screwed for that.
Why?
Wow.
Why?
That's why you gotta sleep early.
No,
That's-
what?
Well, good luck with that, Grant.
Yeah, so we'll see.
You'll be fine. What's
Yeah.
the worst that could happen? You
I just get really tired and break down in front of all the doctors.
or you kill a baby.
Actually, yes, that is the worst case scenario. It was like,
Yeah, that is the-
they're like, all right, you ready to perform your first actual human delivery?
and
I'm
you
like,
were on
yes.
like 1 hour of sleep,
Yeah.
even though you had
Yeah,
plenty of
and then I'd
time
like
to sleep.
drop a baby or something. Yeah, that's totally the worst
No.
case scenario.
That is the worst case scenario.
That is like the worst though, like when you know that you need to get a lot of sleep and you just like can't sleep, you know.
Yeah, that's, I mean, 100%. Like, that's the sucky part about being a doctor is like, or almost a doctor or whatever, is that like,
Mhm.
what's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, you kill someone. Someone dies because of negligence.
I mean, that could happen if you just like have a car crash or something also.
Yeah, or like, I guess if you're like a firefighter or like,
Mhm.
there are a number of different jobs, I suppose, in which that's like a risk. But see what I'm talking about, though? See the guilt complex? I'm already guilty. I haven't done anything wrong yet.
Yeah.
I'm
You're already
already
guilty that
guilty about killing a baby, and I haven't even showed up for the shift yet.
true.
It's okay. I believe in you, dude.
Thank you.
Well, I
Send me
think.
meetings tomorrow. I can look at them when I run to pee.
Sounds good. I think I'm going to stop the recording here.
That's fine. Thank you for listening to the worst podcast on the internet. WUUA
Hell
TIB.
yeah, dude. You mean the best. Everyone,
Yeah.
have a good day, night, or whatever. Just have a good day. And
Should we crash the other podcast?
yes, okay.
Let's
Bye,
do it.
guys.
Bye.